Feel that. Before you dismiss it as indigestion or restless sleep or the simple weight of a long week, feel it again. There is a low, persistent heat behind your navel, a warmth that is not entirely your own. It has been building for days, maybe weeks, a quiet hum beneath the noise of your life that has recently begun to thrum, to pulse, with a rhythm that is pulling your attention inward. You have felt it when you wake in the middle of the night, the silence of the room amplifying a sense of profound and unnamed anticipation. You have felt it in moments of stillness, a feeling in your hips and your lower back of something dense and heavy, something preparing to settle. This is not anxiety. This is not stress. This is resonance. Your body, that wise and ancient instrument, has picked up a signal that your mind is only now beginning to register. It has heard the turning of a great cosmic key in a lock that has been sealed for a year. What you are feeling is the earth itself preparing. It is the deep, telluric current of the world responding to a celestial arrival. Within the next 24 hours, Venus, the great weaver of value and vessel of beauty, will leave the fiery, impatient sign of Aries and come home. She will enter Taurus, the sign of her dominion, the place where her power is not borrowed or embattled, but inherent. This is not a visit. This is a return to her throne, and your body, made of the same carbon and water and minerals as the ground beneath your feet, is responding to the vibration of a queen returning to her lands. The heat you feel is the friction of arrival. The restlessness is the gathering of potential. The last time this happened, you were a different person. The world was a different world. And the gate that is about to open has not been configured in this precise way in your lifetime. So let us not speak of luck. To speak of luck in a moment like this is to profoundly misunderstand the nature of the invitation. Luck is for games of chance. This is a matter of sacred physics. This is about what you have been building in silence and in darkness, finally meeting the precise conditions required for its emergence. The question is not whether you will be lucky or unlucky. That is a child's question, asked from the surface of things. The real question, the one that is being whispered in the heat in your gut, is whether you are willing to claim the value of what you have endured. I need you to understand this. Venus in Taurus is not a fairy godmother who arrives to turn pumpkins into carriages. She is the keeper of the wine cellar. She is the keeper of the wine cellar. She is the guardian of the deep, quiet, earthen places where pressure and time perform their slow and irreversible alchemy. She does not bring you things you do not have. She reveals the profound, intoxicating value of what has already been fermenting within you, hidden from the light. For the past year, you have been a vineyard. You have weathered storms you did not think you could survive. You have endured periods of drought that left you feeling brittle and barren. You have been scorched by a sun that felt more punishing than nurturing. And you have, despite it all, produced a harvest. You have lived. You have felt. You have lost. You have hoped. Each one of those moments, every quiet sorrow, every unspoken longing, every small, persistent act of showing up for your own life when it would have been easier to abandon the field. These were the grapes. And you, perhaps, looked at them and saw only a bruised and meager crop. You judged the harvest by the difficulty of the season. You saw the dust on the skins, the slight bitterness of the fruit, and you believed it was a failure. You have been carrying a story about the poverty of your own experience, a voice that whispers, "This is not it. This is not enough. You are behind." But Venus is not the goddess of surfaces. She is the goddess of substance. She walks into your vineyard now, not to judge the harvest, but to begin the press. This is the first truth you must accept. The pressure you are about to feel, or the pressure that has already begun, is not a punishment. It is not a sign that you have done something wrong. It is the necessary force that separates the juice from the skin. It is the beginning of transformation. The signs that will feel unlucky under this transit are simply the ones who resist the press. They are the ones who will cling to the grape in its raw form, who will insist that the skin, the stem, the leaf, the story of their suffering, the identity of their struggle is the most important part. They will fight to remain a fruit, raw and untransformed, because they are terrified of the crushing, the darkness, the dissolution that is required to become wine. To become something of value, you must first be willing to be utterly undone, to have your form broken, to be poured into a vessel in the dark and left to trust a process you cannot see or control. The signs that will feel lucky are not those who are spared the pressure. No one is spared the press. They are the ones who, consciously or unconsciously, have been waiting for it. They are the ones who instinctively understand that the breaking is not the end, but the beginning. They will lean into the weight. They will surrender their form. They will allow the separation of what is essential from what is merely circumstantial. They will consent to be poured into the darkness of the barrel, into the quiet of the cellar, and they will trust the ancient, sacred process of fermentation. They will not mistake the bubbling, the heat, the churning of this transformation for chaos or destruction. They will recognize it for what it is: the slow, cellular conversion of sugar into spirit, the transformation of experience into wisdom, of pain into power, of time into value. So, let us discard the old language. There is no luck here. There is only readiness. And your presence here, listening to these words, the resonance you feel in your bones, is the only evidence you need that some part of you is, indeed, ready. Something in you is tired of holding the shape of the grape. Something in you is longing for the cellar. Something in you knows, with a certainty that defies logic, that your truest value is not in what you have survived, but in what you are capable of becoming because of it. For the next few weeks, while Venus moves through her home sign, you are in that cellar. The door is sealed, the light is gone, and your only companions are the raw substance of your own life and the inexorable, silent work of time. This is a period of profound internal activity that will look from the outside like stillness. It will feel, on the inside, like a slow volcanic churning. This is the source of the heat in your solar plexus. It is the alchemical fire of fermentation. Your body is the barrel. It is holding the press of your entire life. Every joy, every heartbreak, every betrayal, every moment of grace. It is all in there, swirling together, the sugars of your sweetness meeting the wild, airborne yeast of spirit. Do you feel it? The tightness in your jaw, the tension in your shoulders? That is you trying to hold the barrel together with sheer force of will. You are trying to manage the fermentation. You are trying to control a sacred and wild process that has its own intelligence. You cannot rush it. You cannot direct it. You can only provide the vessel. You can only be the container for your own becoming. Let your jaw soften. Let your shoulders drop. The barrel will not break. You were made for this. Your soul chose this vintage. It chose this particular blend of experiences, this specific terroir of a life. knowing it would produce a wine of unimaginable character and depth. The ancient Greeks understood this. They called him Dionysus, the god of wine, of ecstasy, of the breaking of forms. He was not a gentle god. His rites were not polite gatherings. They were wild, ecstatic, terrifying affairs in which the boundaries between self and other, human and divine, sanity and madness were dissolved. He was called the Liberator, but liberation, in his mythology, came through being torn apart. He himself was dismembered by the Titans, his body scattered, only to be reconstituted, reborn. The myth tells us that the crushing precedes the ecstasy, the dismemberment precedes the liberation. The journey into the dark, into the earth, into the cellar, is the only path to the spirit that animates the wine. This transit of Venus in Taurus is a Dionysian passage. It is an invitation to allow the parts of your life that you have held together with white-knuckled control to finally fall apart, not into chaos, but into a more essential substance. That relationship you have been propping up, the one that looks right from the outside, but feels like a slow poison on the inside. That job that provides security, but demands the sacrifice of your soul. That identity you have curated, the one of the strong one, the capable one, the one who never needs anything, which has become a prison that is starving you of real connection. These are the skins of the grape. They have served their purpose. They protected the fruit while it was growing, but they cannot come with you into the bottle. They cannot become wine. They can only become bitterness and rot if you refuse to let them be pressed away. It says, let it break. That thought you just had, that person's face that flashed in your mind, that is the place to begin. The process is asking for that particular skin to be surrendered, and your mind will immediately protest. It will say, not that, anything but that. It is too valuable, too necessary. I cannot survive without it. But Venus in Taurus, the great appraiser, is here to offer a reversal of understanding. She is here to show you that what you have been clinging to is not the source of your value, but the obstacle to it. The perceived security of that form is an illusion. The real security, the real wealth, lies in the potent, intoxicating liquid that is trapped inside. It is your essence, your truth, your untamed, uncomposted spirit. This is the moment of direct emotional confrontation that this transit brings. It is not an attack. It is a revelation of value. Venus holds up two things before you. In one hand, she holds the grape, intact, familiar, safe, but ultimately perishable and of limited worth. In the other, she holds a glass of dark, aged wine, the product of crushing, of darkness, of time, of terrifying transformation, but now possessed of a spirit, a depth, a value that the grape could never have achieved. And she asks you to choose, not once, but every day for the next few weeks. With every interaction, with every decision, you'll be asked to choose between the safety of the skin and the power of the wine. Feel that in your body, the choice. Notice the pull in your chest toward the familiar, the known, the way your stomach clenches at the thought of letting go. That is the fear of the press. It is a primal, understandable fear. But notice too something else, deeper beneath it. A sense of expansion, a quiet, thrilling hum of possibility at the thought of what could be on the other side of the breaking. A longing for your own depth. That is your soul, recognizing the invitation. It has been waiting in the vineyard for a very long time. This energy will test your attachments. It will reveal, with sometimes uncomfortable clarity, where you have been investing in things that have no real substance. It will show you the difference between price and value. Things that have a high price but low value will begin to feel intolerably heavy. relationships based on transaction rather than connection, possessions that own you more than you own them, ambitions that are driven by ego rather than soul. Venus in Taurus is an earth goddess. She has no patience for abstraction. She deals in what is real, what is tangible, what can be tasted and felt and held. She is asking you to become a connoisseur of your own life, to develop a palate for the authentic. And, like any good connoisseur, you must be willing to spit out what is false, what is synthetic, what is poorly made, no matter how expensive the label. This is why some will experience this transit as a time of loss. They will feel unlucky. Things will be taken from them. Relationships will end. Jobs will dissolve. But it is not a taking. It is a clearing of the palate. It is the universe, in its great and sometimes terrible mercy, removing from your table the cheap wine that has been dulling your senses, so that you can finally taste the richness of what you are capable of creating. The loss is not the story. The loss is the prelude to the revelation of true value. Not because you were punished, but because you were being prepared for something better. Not because you failed, but because you succeeded at a level you have not yet been able to comprehend. Think of the great wine cellars of the world, the catacombs beneath the ancient cities. They are dark, they are cold, they are silent. They are, in a way, tombs, but they are tombs that gestate life. They are the womb of the earth where potential is sealed in darkness until it is ready. You are in that sacred tomb right now. And you may be tempted to try to break out, to pound on the door, to demand the light. But I am here to tell you, with all the certainty I possess, that the only way out is through. The only way to the light is to fully inhabit the dark, to surrender to the slow, invisible alchemy of your own becoming. So, let us make this practical. Let us ground this celestial poetry in an earthly practice. For the next 3 days, you are going to perform a ritual of the cellar.
It is a way of consciously cooperating with this immense gravitational and spiritual pressure, rather than resisting it. It is simple. It requires no special tools, only your willingness and your courage. On the first day, tomorrow, as Venus makes her ingress, you will enter the cellar. You will need a piece of paper and a pen. I want you to find a quiet moment, a space where you will not be disturbed. I want you to sit, and I want you to feel that heat in your gut, that pressure in your body. And I want you to ask it a question. What skin is ready to be shed? What form is ready to be broken? Do not think with your mind. Your mind will lie to you. It will offer up safe, manageable answers. I want you to listen with your body. Listen to the cellar. A name, a situation, a belief, a fear will rise up from that deep, churning place within you. It is the unnamed truth you have been carrying. It is the thing you know you must face, but have been avoiding. The conversation you have not had. The decision you have not made. The grief you have not allowed yourself to feel. When it rises, your heart will beat faster. You will feel a jolt of fear and recognition. That is how you know it is true. I want you to write it down on the paper. Use the simplest words possible. No justifications, no explanations. Just the raw name of the thing. My fear of being alone. The lie I have been telling my partner. The anger I carry toward my father. My belief that I'm not worthy of rest. Write it down. This is the grape. You are holding the harvest of your avoidance in your hands. And by writing it down, you are agreeing to the press. You are saying, I am willing for this to be transformed. Fold the paper once and place it somewhere dark and cool for the night. a drawer, a box, the back of a closet. You have brought the harvest into the cellar. That is all for day 1. On the second day, you will begin the fermentation. Take out the piece of paper. You will need a simple glass of water. Water, the great solvent, the medium of dissolution. Unfold the paper and read the words aloud, just once. Let the vibration of your own voice name the truth in the air. Then, place the paper into the glass of water, and you will watch. At first, nothing will seem to happen. The paper will float, obstinate, holding its shape. But then, slowly, the water will begin to work on it. The edges will soften. The ink, the very form of the words, will begin to blur, to bleed out into the water. The structure will dissolve. This is a mirror of the internal process. It is the breaking down of the old story, the old identity. I want you to leave this glass somewhere you can see it throughout the day. Every time you look at it, you are bearing witness to your own transformation. You are honoring the messy, undefined, in-between state. You are not the grape anymore, but you are not yet the wine. You are this murky, dissolving potential, and you will feel this in your body. Day 2 may be a day of emotional churning. You may feel sad or angry or confused. This is the bubbling of the fermentation. It is the release of old gases, old energies that were trapped in the solid form of your denial. Do not fight it. Do not judge it. Simply witness it in the glass and in yourself. Let the dissolution happen. By the end of the day, the paper will be mostly gone, a pulpy mass at the bottom, and the water will be clouded with the ink of your surrendered truth. On the third day, the final day of this initial ritual, you will complete the offering. You will take the glass of water, now infused with the essence of what you have released, and you will take it outside, to the earth. Find a patch of ground, under a tree, in a garden, even a potted plant on a balcony will do. You are looking for living soil, and you are going to pour the water onto the earth. As you pour, I want you to speak a simple sentence from your heart. Something like, I return this energy, transformed, to the earth. May it nourish new life. May the value of my experience be revealed. This is the most critical step. You are not throwing something away. You are not discarding your pain or your fear. You are returning its transformed substance to the great cycle of life and death and rebirth. You are acknowledging that even the most difficult experiences, once pressed and fermented, become a source of nourishment. They become wisdom. They become fertile ground from which something new can grow. You are completing the alchemical circuit. You have turned the lead of your silent suffering into the gold of conscious offering. You have taken what was hidden in your personal cellar and given it back to the world as a blessing. And in that moment, you will feel a shift. The pressure in your body will ease. The heat will soften into a gentle, radiant warmth. You will feel a profound sense of peace, of rightness. The fermentation is complete. The wine has been made. Now, you must let it age. The coming weeks are a time of quiet integration. The dramatic work is done. Now comes the subtle maturation. This is a time to pay exquisite attention to your senses. Venus in Taurus rules the body, the physical world. So, taste your food slowly. Feel the texture of the clothes on your skin. Listen to music that makes you feel something deep in your bones. Walk barefoot on the grass. This is how you develop your palate. This is how you learn to discern real value. By anchoring yourself in the profound and simple beauty of the physical world, you are training yourself to recognize the quality of your own inner wine. You are learning to trust your own taste, your own worth, not because of some external validation, but because you have a direct, sensory experience of what is good and true and beautiful. This process will change your relationships. It will change your relationship with money. It will change your relationship with yourself.
When you know, on a cellular level, the value of what you carry inside you, you stop offering it at a discount. You stop pouring your precious, aged wine into the cups of people who would just as soon gulp cheap beer. You learn to wait for the connoisseurs. You learn to wait for those who have the palate to appreciate your depth, your complexity, your notes of sorrow and sun and hard-won sweetness. You begin to understand that your value is not diminished by not being for everyone. It is, in fact, concentrated. The finest wines are not for the masses. They are for those who have done the work to appreciate them. And the first of those people must be you. You must be the first to truly savor what you have become. There is a final secret of the cellar I must share with you. The Sumerian goddess Inanna, in her most famous myth, chose to descend into the underworld, the great below. At each of the 7 gates, she was forced to remove a piece of her royal adornment, a symbol of her power and identity. At the final gate, she entered naked and was struck dead. She hung on a hook, a piece of rotting meat, for 3 days and 3 nights. This is the ultimate image of the press, of dissolution, the death of the ego, the death of the old form. But of course, she is resurrected, and when she ascends, she does not just reclaim her old power. She returns with a deeper wisdom, a more profound authority. She has faced the abyss and returned. She has integrated her own darkness. Your journey into the cellar is a version of Inanna's descent. The truths you are facing, the skins you are shedding, these are your royal robes, the identities you thought were protecting you. This transit is asking you to voluntarily strip them away, to stand naked before your own soul, to endure the 3 days of dissolution so that you can ascend with a power that is not performative, but inherent, a value that is not applied, but embodied. This is not a comfortable process.
It is the work of heroes. It is the work of gods. And it is the work that is before you now. So do not look to the sky and ask if you will be lucky. Look into your own body and ask if you are brave. The planets do not bestow fortune. They present thresholds. And courage is the key that unlocks every gate. The courage to feel what is real. The courage to let go of what is false. The courage to be still in the dark while a holy and terrifying transformation takes place within you. The courage to believe that the crushing is a form of grace, and that on the other side of this pressure is a version of yourself more potent, more valuable, and more intoxicatingly alive than you have yet allowed yourself to imagine. You did not find this by accident. You did not stumble upon these words by chance. Something in you, the part of you that is ready for the press, recognized the vibration of this message before I even spoke the first word. A deeper intelligence in you is guiding you toward your own transformation. You are not late. You are not behind. You have arrived at the door to the cellar at the precise and perfect moment. The harvest is in. The press is waiting, and the great goddess of substance is here to witness your becoming. It is a sacred and a holy time. Your presence here is your first act of consent. Your willingness to listen this far is your first yes to the process. Now, I invite you to make a public declaration, not for me, but for yourself, and for the others who will read your words and find courage in them. Go to the comments and write, The wine is worth the press. Let that be your anchor. Let it be your statement of intent. Let it be a signal to your own soul and to the universe that you are ready to claim the value of your own life. Someone beneath your words, someone who is feeling the same fear and the same hope that you are, will see your declaration and feel less alone. They will find the strength to begin their own descent.
Your courage will become a permission slip for theirs. I have spent many hours in the quiet, reading the ancient charts and listening to the whispers of the planetary currents, so that the path through this time could be made clear for you, so that you would not mistake this sacred pressure for punishment. If these words have served you, if they have opened a door for you, then subscribe and press the bell so that you do not miss the next part of our journey together, so that when the next gate appears, you will have a map in your hands. Trust the darkness. Trust the pressure. Trust the slow, silent work of your own becoming. The wine is worth the press.